Hello, everyone. I'm Dara Bunjon. I'm the food enthusiast. If this is your first time tuning in, I'm a food writer, food stylist, PR maven, and a frustrated baker. Today's sponsor is Amatus. Amatus Recovery Centers offers premier treatment for drug and alcohol addiction and co occurring mental health disorders in facilities across the country. To learn more about treatment programs, call 833-631-0525. Addiction is treatable and recovery is possible. Today's guests are the brothers Lefenfeld. Sorry, my tongue got caught there. That's Chef Ben and his brother Jake, who is the mixologist, front of house of the Basque inspired restaurant here in Baltimore, La Cuchara in Meadow Mill on Clipper Mill Road. Let's see if we can bring Ben in. We're going to have Ben for the first half of the show and Jake for the second half. Hi, Ben. What's on your plate today?
Hello, Dara. Thank you very much for having us on. Today is just another day in COVID land here at La Cuchara. With the marketplace that we're operating, the first thing that we do every day is compile all the orders from the night before and start to put together the prepared foods so that we can pack for the pickups later on in the day. In addition to that, today we also have a large event to benefit the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation of Maryland. It's a virtual event where we're putting together meals for roughly 480 guests, which they're going to enjoy in the comfort of their own homes and cook along with us, preparing the meal, having some wine, having a good time, and also helping to support a great cause.
You know, there isn't a cause that isn't worthy. And I know so many of the restaurateurs, we used to do a very big event for cystic fibrosis. COVID has changed that. But you pre-recorded the event because it eliminates some of the technical issues you would have. But the people can cook along with you. Is that not the case? Or there's going to be some interaction?
There is some interaction. There also is a silent auction. And we do also have a page on our La Cuchara Marketplace website where all the proceeds from the sales of items on that page are going towards the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. So we figured we already had enough moving parts where we weren't able to do it live as well.
Well, I think just to tell people again, you have two websites, La Cuchara Marketplace, where you started very early on in COVID making a marketplace so things were available to people. And you have a special page for cystic fibrosis with various alcohol, wine, things of that nature. But it isn't just products from you. I see that there's a dinner with Aldo's and Sergio Vitale that they can buy. There's only one of those, and I think it's a dinner for four. And they can buy that. There are many different items there to buy. Now, I went into Marketplace, and people, there is a ton of things there, soup stocks, even supporting other businesses, the Charmery, you're doing delivery, dairy, your breads. Let's talk about breads. You're one of the few places that makes your own bread. So how did the breads come about?
First off, a funny story. A couple of friends of mine who happen to be French and Spanish went out to dinner. Basically, the first course comes, there's no bread on the table. Everybody looks at each other like, what are we doing here? And we had to get bread on the table before anybody started eating. And that's kind of the bedrock, in my opinion, of how to start a great meal, which is why we wanted to make sure that the bread program was top-notch at La Cuchara from the day that we opened. Our baker, Carrie Goltra, makes amazing breads. We typically have 4 breads on the breadboard at any given time, and most of those breads are for sale in the marketplace as well.
And I think, I can't remember what restaurant I was looking at, but some of the other restaurants in town are carrying your bread. Am I correct?
We have sold breads to different restaurants. We do not have any restaurants specifically that are carrying it all the time. It's been more of a specialty item for special dinners and things like that for the most part.
Well, we have a lot of people tuning in. One of the higher ups at J Moore, John Colson, said, my favorite restaurant. Um, and Jeff Spear says, favorite breads with every meal, love it. The best happy hour. Let me guess, was that the light rail?
That was light rail.
That was the light rail. We're doing something different, folks. We're outside. We're living large today and taking chances here. That wasn't too bad.
So I'm actually sitting at the tables where we're conducting happy hour service right now in front of the restaurant.
And when we speak to Jake, he's going to talk more about what has been done to make everything COVID safe and how you're looking to extend this wonderful happy hour, which is from Wednesday through Sunday, through the winter months. And we're going to let him describe that. But folks, the best happy hour. And just go. If you haven't been and you have tapas or what we would say, what is it? Pinchots? How do you pronounce that?
Pinchos. So the happy hour special includes tapas and pinchos, which are 50% off. The menu does change every day, extremely seasonal, so there's always something new. And then also, just to make it a little bit more seasonal and appropriate for eating outside, we have mulled wine, which is warm, served at happy hour right now. Fun drink special. So.
Yeah. Well, drinks we're going to talk to your brother about because that's his specialty. What a great merge. Yes. And your wife is human resources and general management. Am I correct?
Human resources. Yeah. She takes care of all the important stuff.
It's the family affair. You don't have to do the checks. She takes care of that, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Well, that's pretty good. Let me settle into some of your background. Mm-hmm. You grew up in Howard County. You went to BIC, Baltimore International Culinary College. And when I started reading it, I went, well, you're in Ellicott City. What about Tersigils? And sure enough, you went to work with Chef Michel. It's Michel, mm-hmm. isn't it?
Yes.
And you worked with him. And eventually, you went to Washington and you worked with a 2-star Michelin chef. And eventually you came back to town and you really start working with the Cindy Wolf and her restaurant group and working as a sous chef at Charleston and executive chef at the French restaurant. Thank you. You know, I have a lot of bad sectors. I hit them, just things disappear. Let me continue with that. Why Basque? I mean, that's really northwest Spain and a little bit of France, like Espelette. And tell people why you went with the Basque food.
So, in doing lots and lots of research, I mean, we wanted to open a restaurant. My background was primarily French. And then just looking around the culinary scene that's going on in the world, there's no more diverse, interesting, exciting cuisine, in my opinion, than what is going on in País Vascos in the Basque region. Just love cooking over wood, like you see in the traditional asadores in the region. I love the communal atmosphere of pincho bars, which is something we wanted to recreate here at La Cuchara, where really you can spend the whole night just nibbling on snacks and enjoying wine, and it just seemed like a dream fit for us.
My computer became unplugged and it's running out. So La Cuchara means spoons. Folks, forgive me, I have to do a plug-in. Tell everybody what La Cuchara means and why you chose that name.
Yeah, so La Cuchara is the spoon in Spanish. It is an homage to a restaurant that we've been to many, many times in San Sebastian. San Sebastian, in my opinion, is kind of the heart of the Basque region. And there is a restaurant there called La Cuchara de San Telmo, which has been there for many, many years. And it always seemed the pincho bar that we would end up at the end of the night, coming back for another round and just getting another piece of sauteed foie gras or getting another little porcini mushroom pincho because we just couldn't stay away from there.
Now, a bunch of different flavors, just love it. Let's see what else I have here. But the marketplace that you have set up, you've sort of divested yourself. I mean, there is Basque food, but I don't know how many times I've heard people say, gee, I wish I could buy a restaurant quality steak or a restaurant quality this. And with La Cuchara Marketplace.com, all these things are available and they have delivery. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to get the computer back on here. So let's talk about some of the items that are on Marketplace.
So when COVID first started, we did try to create basically a to-go marketplace where people would order, and it was mainly La Cuchara items that, in my opinion, just don't travel that well. It's something that you need to eat in the moment here at the restaurant. So looking around, we really felt that there was a need in the immediate neighborhood and also beyond for people to have access to high quality ingredients. You can remember this is the beginning of COVID where the grocery stores people wanted to stay away from. A lot of the delivery services were backed up by weeks. So we made a conscious effort to try to focus on that and also to make sure that the items were priced appropriately. I mean, we weren't trying to make a lot of money from this. It was really as being able to pay our staff and to be a support for the immediate community. Since then, it's evolved where we basically try to figure out what people are looking for. It seems like now people are looking for a little bit more prepared foods, whereas in the beginning, everybody was baking at home and we were selling 80 or 90 pounds of flour in a day. So it's been an evolution throughout the entire process. And I mean, now we specialize a lot more in seafood and steaks and things like that. So it's evolved with us. But the marketplace is never meant to be a representation of La Cuchara in the vein of being a Basque cuisine marketplace. It's more so comfort food, staples, and just easily accessible things for the people in the immediate community.
Well, you had a quote. I'm just trying to see if I put it down here. Your quote was, restaurants need to focus on the needs of their community. And that's what you've done.
Yes.
And that's having this available and supporting your staff, the community, and having these products. Look, you couldn't find yeast anywhere. The bread baking, it was freakish. I had Elizabeth Faulkner on, she was talking about it as well. So things have changed. For right now, La Cuchara is going to be serving not only happy hour, but meals outdoors. We're not coming in. And a lot of that space is taken over because you've been prepping all these different items to go. Am I correct?
Correct. We've basically turned the south dining room into a marketplace. And then the bar area serves as kind of the packing area during the day, and then transitions more into a service bar at night. As you can see behind me, we did tent the patio. We created a wind block to try to keep it so that throughout December and January, with the help of some gas heaters, we can keep it comfortable out there for our guests. But at this point in time, we don't, for ourselves, it's not the right decision to serve people inside, and we're going to be conducting service outside. I think there's lots of fun opportunities, whether it's après ski style happy hour that we might be doing later down the line, or some outdoor, not bonfires, but outdoor we have a smokeless fire pit, basically. We might do a couple of those out here if we can get permission from the fire department. But I think that there's some fun, creative ways that we can enjoy the outdoors this winter and incorporate that into the happy hour as well.
Before I forget about it, for those of you, we're not that far away for Thanksgiving. I know that you're doing a Thanksgiving dinner that people can purchase. So you want to take a look at that on Marketplace, and you can also find it on their regular webpage, which is La Cuchara, Baltimore.com. And their social media is La Cuchara Baltimore. So Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you can find them there. So we're going to be doing we're going to have your brother come on soon. But in the interim, what was your epic culinary fail? One of the two questions that I always ask.
So I need to think back to a restaurant that I worked at for many, many years. We had a very fancy wine dinner, 6 courses. Tickets probably costed, I don't know, 140, 150 bucks. In middle of December, whole restaurant, it was 50% of the restaurant, probably 60 people. They were enjoying the wine dinner, and the last course was a souffle. So you can picture 60 souffles coming in out of the oven at once. And if you're familiar with commercial ovens, they have channels on the sides that the grates kind of slip into. So my souffles were packed a little bit too far out to the outside, and one souffle got stuck on the channel. And I did not have any extra souffles. So a gentleman who is actually a great guest now here at the restaurant, I had to walk out while everybody else is enjoying their souffle, apologize to this gentleman and offer him a different dessert, which was very embarrassing for me at the time, but a great learning experience. You always make a few extra souffles.
That, and you learn not to pack it to the side.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Right,
Yep.
right. As for you and the chef side of things, what didn't I ask you that you would like to talk about?
Basically just the kind of course of the day, which you touched on in the very beginning, but it's just very different now trying to juggle 2 businesses with less staff than we used to have with 1 business before. Making sure that the marketplace is running well and all high quality ingredients, but then switching gears at 1 o'clock in the afternoon to write the menu for that evening, which has been rewarding and challenging both at the same time. Definitely has been keeping our hands full.
Have you cut back on the amount of entrees that you're doing?
So the menu is a little bit smaller than it used to be when we first reopened. The menu was about half the size of the normal menu.
Right.
And we've expanded that over time. And to tell you the truth, since La Cuchara's been open, which has been 5.5 years now, the menu's gone through constant evolutions, which is just what happens when you reprint every single day. So.
I know, I enjoy it. You work in front of a wood burning stove. What's the Spanish name for that? Doesn't it begin with a P?
So it's considered an asador.
Okay.
And what we have is it is a Spanish style grill, but it takes a lot of its inspiration from Argentinian style cooking, where you're moving the grill grate closer or further from the flame itself. So it's a different technique where instead of just focusing on the fire to fluctuate how something is cooking, you're focusing on the distance of the fire and the item that you're cooking itself as well.
Well, I'm going to go to my commercial for Amadeus. I thank you. You can bring your baby brother on, and stay safe.
You too, Dara. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so as we change guests here, let me read you. Seek treatment for drug and alcohol addiction and co-occurring mental health disorders by calling Amatus Recovery Centers at 833-631-0525. And trying to see, you're putting them there. Are we in, Jake?
We absolutely are. How are you, Dara?
I'm doing just fine, everybody. This is baby brother Jake, who um, took what was a criminology in college and ended up being a mixologist. I haven't figured that transition, but
Yeah,
uh,
I was a criminal justice major, but when I got out of school was 2008. There was not a lot of jobs in the field. Fast forward a few more years, I'd like to count, and here I am.
well, it worked out with your brother going into food, and I think I read notes your mother was a really good cook. So
He
sometimes
absolutely was.
it's sometimes it's, mom was a bad cook, so I had to jump in and learn where mom was a great cook. Let's address the thing about COVID because you really have made great strides and big efforts to make the dining at La Cuchara safe and joyous. So why don't you tell us what's going on at La Cuchara?
Absolutely. When the pandemic hit, there was no real playbook as far as
Right.
how to proceed. So first things first was understanding how to keep our staff, safe in the restaurant. This was in the early days of the market, as Ben was mentioning, before we even had any dining outside. Understanding the whole, the employees that were here that we were able to keep on, that making sure that bubble stays intact, that everybody understood, the dangers of not social distancing, kind of understanding how anything that is done outside of the restaurant when you're off of work can still be brought in. And then obviously once we started doing dining outside on our patio, we had to learn again kind of what the correct measures were. I mean, here at La Cuchara, our number one concern was always the experience and the satisfaction of our guests. Still quite important to us, but in front of that now is the safety of our staff and guests. That is paramount. So we waited a couple of weeks after outside dining was allowed to really try and do the research and understand the appropriate ways to make sure that everybody is safe while enjoying their meal here. This includes, something as simple as the cleaning supplies that we are using, trying to understand and research through the CDC, what exact cleaning supplies works best, against COVID-19. Implementing a mask policy, not only, of course, for our staff 100% of the time during the day or night that they are on premise, but for our guests, anybody that is even just, walking up to the host stand, making sure they have a mask on. Anytime anybody is not at their seat, having a mask on. And I think we are probably one of the strictest restaurants when it comes to our rules. We have a code of conduct that is printed out and explained and pointed out at every table. So guests all understand exactly the expectations of dining with us. Making sure that our tables are 6 feet apart, making sure that our groups, unless there's little children, that there's no more than 6 guests at a table. Um, all these little things that have now become normal to us. Everybody that comes into the restaurant, whether it's an employee or a guest for the night, gets temperature checked. And we also contact trace as well, get all the information or at least one guest information for the party to make sure that we can contact trace if need be. And like I said, temperature check every single person that comes in, explain the code of conduct, and really kind of just create a very safe bubble as guests are enjoying it.
And let me stress that people need to make reservations. Am I correct?
Yes. Yeah, we absolutely will take walk-ins where we can. We're not doing any inside dining, as I'm sure Ben had explained. So we are working with a patio, and we're going from having a 300-person restaurant to, about a 50-person to make sure that it is spaced accordingly on the patio. So any given night, really, we can be booked up if guests want to come in and enjoy a happy hour that is first come, first serve in a parking lot. But it does help us kind of adjust our tables and make sure that we are kind of playing a little Jenga to make sure everything still stays 6 feet apart, all guests are taken care of, but in the safest manner possible. People want to stop by and we have room for walk-ins. We love walk-ins. We take them anytime, but with the space we have now, definitely reservations help.
So reservations for dinner, but not reservations for happy hour or both?
That is correct. Reservations for dinner. You can find it on Resi or on our website, or just call in the restaurant. That would be our a la carte reservations for the patio. But happy hour is first come, first serve at our high top tables in the parking lot.
That's my favorite. Folks, the best happy hour in the city or anywhere that I've been. And I would get there at 5 o'clock. You know, you work from home. I have the ability to be there at Toot Sweet. So if you're venturing out, you know, go for happy hour, have some tapas, and then stay for dinner. It's not a bad move. Um, Spanish drinks. What are typical? I know cider. Is it gin and tonic? What are some of the typical Spanish drinks?
Yeah, so when you're looking at a bar program that incorporates definitely the Basque region, there's a couple of things that you always want to hit on. Having a wide variety of gin, whether it be for cocktails or just great gin and tonics. One of the big parts of that is using a wonderful tonic. We use Jack Ruby tonic. It's a small batch tonic that is kind of second to none. There are a lot of different ciders that we provide here, whether it be large format bottles of cider, cider on draft, something that's very unique to the Basque region. Pardon me, sorry about that. We have a wonderful vermouth section as well. Vermouth is something that you see in the Basque region that is great to sip on either before or after dinner. Definitely, I think we have something like 15 to 20 different kinds of vermouth that people are always so shocked how delicious it is, how representative of Spain it is. And then it might not be Spanish, but people especially in Baltimore, they like their bourbon and their whiskey, so we make sure to have as much of those special bottles as we can in here as well.
You know, COVID has more people doing a lot of things at home that they weren't doing before, and people are starting to create their own little bar at home. What would you say are some of the key elements that people should have on their bar, their home bar?
On their home bar, I would say it'd be very easy to go into your store and have all these special liqueurs to kind of mix drinks with. Some will be crazy colors. If you have a couple of bottles of nice bitters, you really just want to have some nice bitters, some fresh fruit, and some high quality spirits. You'd be surprised how many different unique cocktails you can have with just a couple of small bottles of bitters rather than pulling in a ton of unneeded bottles.
Do you think there's so much going on and yet there's not so much? I know when things were good, people could bring you in to do a special cocktail dinner and show them different things. Do you think there's a chance that you might be doing some live videos or YouTube on mixology that people can look at? Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We did dabble with that before. As of right now, there's nothing in the works. But with that being said, we found ways. I know we had mentioned the CF event. We found ways to kind of incorporate the cocktails and the fun parts of mixology, whether it be in online events or when guests are just coming in here to enjoy.
Well, let me do the question. You know it's coming. Since you don't cook, what was your epic mixology fail? Your cocktail, wine, beer fail, whatever.
Well, so as far as cocktails go, it's very easy. I know Ben told you his souffle story, and that takes a lot of time and preparation. Mine is a little bit more self-afflicting. Basically, one of the old tricks I've done since I was 18 years old is I blow fire. I've been a fire breather. I could do shots that light on fire. I blow big fireballs. I've done it since I was 18 years old, and I've done it probably 300 times.
And you still have your beard.
Well, I've I've retired that trick out of my box of tools. I had an incident about 2 years ago where I was doing basically what happens is I take a large swig of high proof alcohol, and then I put it on my hand. I light my hand on fire, and then I would blow a big fireball. And because it was burning the alcohol, it was no problem. Like I said, done it a lot of times. Well, I accidentally did it when in the dead of winter, when somebody opened a door to the restaurant, and I had a backdraft, and the fireball engulfed my face, and gave me some pretty severe burns that have healed, and the beard's not covering them. They've healed, but it was not my finest moment. I kept my composure, but since then I've kind of tabled that trick for probably forever.
Okay. Okay, kids, don't do this at home.
No, do not. I thought I was very experienced, and did not help.
Okay, I didn't know when I start joking about the beard. All right. So the final question, what question didn't I ask you that I should have, or is there lasting words or anything that you want to share with the audience?
I would say lasting words, we have a wonderful clientele here at La Cuchara. We have a wonderful staff. I think that still out there, when it comes to dining, there's some people that are a little hesitant. And I guess I would say lasting words is thank you to our clientele and our staff who have done an amazing job over the last 3 or 4 months, 5 months, to really understand the safe way to have guests in to dine, to enjoy themselves, to be able to have some family time over a nice meal, something that we lost for so long. I think that it's just, times like these when it's trying to find something positive, that's the real positive that I see is people in the service industry and their guests both working to make sure there's a safe environment to enjoy things as simple as a nice dinner out.
Well, I know it's supposed to be the last question, but I do have one that came in. It says, do you stock gins from Spain, which I think you covered? Yeah. Do you make gin and tonic or just gin tonic? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, we do stock gins from Spain. We have a lot of gins from Spain, primarily from Barcelona. What you see in those gins is they're a little less dry. They have like a little bit more of a salinity to them. We make a lot of different gin and tonics, but we also try and incorporate those gins into cocktails, ways that are able to kind of balance, but still bring those flavors that you see in Spain, the herbs and the spices, to the cocktails to enjoy here.
Yeah. Everyone, we're with Jake Lefenfeld, who is front of house mixologist for La Cuchara here in Baltimore, Meadow Mill at Clipper Mill Road. And they are open Wednesday through Sunday, and they are doing outdoor dining safely set up for COVID. And that is lacuchara.com. Anything on the marketplace from steak to falafel, you'll find that at lacucharamarketplace.com. I want to thank you and your brother for sharing time. I know you are overwhelmed today with everything that you're doing for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. I think it's like 400 meals, something like that. I thank you. Yeah, something like that. Thank you. You stay safe.
Dara, thank you so much for having us on, and we hope to talk to you soon.
Well, I hope to be there soon for happy hour for sure.
All right. I'll look for you. Take care.
Okay. Hi. I'm still here. I'm Dara Bunjon. I am the Food Enthusiast, and you will find this video up on Jmore Living's Facebook page, jmoreliving.com. If you want to reach me, you can reach me at food@jmoreliving.com. My social media is @DaraCooks. And next week's guest is Suzanne Loudermilk, who is co-author of The Lost Restaurants of Baltimore, the former food editor for Baltimore Magazine, food reviewer for the Baltimore Sun, and she's now teaching journalism. And I hope you'll join us. It should be a very interesting show. I thank the Lefenfeld brothers. You all stay safe, wear your mask, and may your plates always, always remain full.